What's happening, Bills Mafia? Ryan Thomas here, live on the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. And of course, I am joined by another awesome guest of the pod, good buddy of mine, colleague of mine, Scott Reed. What's going on, Scooter?
Hey, what's up, Bills Mafia? What's up, 24/7 Buff Fandemonium, the Thomas Take Sport Podcast fans, and FLX Mafia? That's a mouthful, let me tell you that much for free there, buddy. Hey, guys, we're coming at you from the Finger Lakes region. This is Sunday sessions in co-op with the Thomas Take Sport Podcast. We had a little technical difficulty, so we're doing it this way. I'm doing well, Thomas. I can't wait for this freaking game, let me tell you what.
Yeah, I am very, very pumped, to say the least, to not only have you on the show, but to have, as you said, a little bit of everybody joining us. A little bit of my audience, a little bit of your audience, a little bit of all the audiences. That is Bills Mafia tuning in to the Sunday Night Football countdown show. We got Football Night in America on with Chris Sims, Tony Dungy. You see the Bills Mafia pumped and revved and ready to go for the action tonight in Orchard Park, New York. And you guys sitting at home, if you want to watch a different show to get excited for this game and hear all things that you need to keep your eyes out on, this is the show for you to tune into. So, Scott, I want to ask you a few questions about this game, and starting off with the marketing that is the NFL, the machine that is the National Football League. This game is the Bills, it's the Packers, we know that, but it's also Josh Allen versus Aaron Rodgers. And at this point in their careers, I want you to give me your analysis on where both quarterbacks are at as their careers stand currently.
Well, Josh Allen, as a Bills fan, I'm going to be a little biased. We're on the up and up and up and up. He's. I made this comparison to the Tom Brady's, the Aaron Rodgers is the um, Wilson for Denver Broncos. There, these older quarterbacks, they don't have that camaraderie with this bill with the offense that they're running. I mean, these guys are 40 plus years old. They're a gap of generational gap. Definitely, they don't have anything in common other than the fact that they play football. These guys, Josh Allen, his full roster is loaded with guys that are his same age, his same experience, kind of in a way. And it's like I just see Josh Allen still coming up in the ranks. I still see him leading all these men into a lot of wins, a lot of playoff appearances, and I think it's I wouldn't say it's passing of the torch because usually you say that when someone's still in their prime and they're kind of handing the torch over. I think Aaron Rodgers is done, along with Brady, along with Wilson, like I said. But I would love to be able to compare these guys and have all these guys be kind of competitive and within the same tier, but it's just not there anymore. And it's kind of depressing to see, but at the same time, it's exciting to see these new guys coming up like the Mahomes, the Josh Allens, the Herberts, the Murrays, all them.
Yeah, every era at some point has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and I think we're at the end of the Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson era. And it's very interesting. When I asked myself this question when putting the banner up for the show, in terms of where Josh Allen is at, in terms of where Aaron Rodgers is at, Rodgers is on the back nine, maybe the back two. To your point, he could be done as soon as the end of this season. Josh Allen, though, despite the success that he has had, despite the torrid pace that he is on in 2022 and even dating back to the last couple years now, I don't even think Josh Allen has even remotely touched his prime. I don't even think we're at that point where Josh Allen has even hit his prime. So if Aaron Rodgers at his best, I should say, is the measuring stick for Josh Allen's potential, Josh Allen's already there. So where do you see Josh Allen's potential beyond just this year?
This is a ever-changing NFL. I mean, the records that Josh Allen's is setting right now, you can argue that would have been broken eventually by Josh Allen or someone else. Just the fact that the offense is a lot different, they pass a lot more. It's just, I agree with you. I don't think he's reached his ceiling yet. But the more records he breaks, the more games he wins, he'll eventually be pushing the envelope when it comes to these Peyton Manning, Tom Brady's, all these Aaron Rodgers records that is currently being held. But again, a new era, a new time of football, and I think this would be a perfect day, this game, to be a kind of like a 300 plus passing, 4 touchdowns. This is the normal Josh Allen, and I think if he keeps doing that, surround him with the talent that the Buffalo Bills have, I think we're good.
My next question for you. Thus far this season, we're 5-1. As we've talked about, Allen's success, the offense's success, the offense's success, the defense, Von Miller, the new addition, leading the team in sacks. All things are sunshine and rainbows, but we got the whole second half of the season. We've only played one divisional opponent in the Miami Dolphins thus far. So I ask you, Scott, what would you like to see more of from the Buffalo Bills on offense and defense starting tonight, coming off the bye?
This is no joke of a defense that we're playing in Green Bay Packers. They're still ranked 6. They get a lot of sacks. They create a lot of pressure. So it's going to be a test for Josh Allen regardless. But what do I want to see from the offense from now and continuing? Just keeping the foot on the gas. And that's self-explanatory. Diggs 100-yard receiving games. Maybe dabble in here as the weather gets a little more rough, colder, rainier, slicker. Maybe get Devin Singletary a couple more touches, double-digit touches, all that good stuff. But from here on out, we have 11 straight weeks of football, the Buffalo Bills football. Just keep the foot on the gas, and everybody's healthy. Everyone's healthy except for Spencer Brown. Spencer Brown's injured, obviously, and I think Case and Berry will be a perfect supplement. That's why the Buffalo Bills got him. Our depth is amazing. And so I do believe that I think just keep the foot on the gas there, Ryan.
I love it. I love it because no offense has really said, hey, we're just going to throw the football at you. We're going to do it, from the opening minute, from the opening play, the way the Buffalo Bills have. I would kind of compare their strategy offensively to just a boxer that looks for the uppercut, that looks for the big punch, a la Mike Tyson. This offense is like the Mike Tyson of the NFL. And, going to the defense, though, what has impressed me and maybe what I would like to see more of is just that consistent pressure, not just from Von Miller achieving the sacks and the stat sheet, as well as Gregory Rousseau, Ed Oliver. I'd like to see the wealth on this defense spread around a little bit. I'd like to see some of these other guys chip in on the stat sheet. But, Scott, thus far this season, I am just blown away by the impact that these guys have had, these young players have had, filling in for Trey White. Who has really stood out to you in terms of the Buffalo Bills secondary thus far this season?
I have to go with, Von Miller's the expected. There's a couple answers to this. Von Miller's the expected. He's 32, 33 years old, so you would expect a little bit of a decline. So maybe that's a bit of a surprise to see him pushing the 6 sack mark and going against a banged-up offensive line. I know David Bakhtiari, the starting left tackle for Green Bay, is out for the game. So he's one of those surprises, but I'm going to have to give it to the guy that's, I think, had a lot of pressure on his shoulders is Kaiir Elam. Other than the last 2 weeks that he's played, 2 interceptions, but he's been quiet. But it's been a good quiet. Anytime a rookie comes in, you don't hear his name, that's a good thing. That's a real good thing. So I'm going to give the notch to him considering he's had his leaders and Poyer and Hyde out for a couple games. Edmonds was out for a game. And Trey White's obviously been out as long as he has. So I will give the nod to Kaiir Elam, this is the surprise defensive player so far, and he's doing his thing. And with the Bills facing a banged-up wide receiver core, I just saw that Lazard is out for this game too. That's going to be huge. And that may be a contributing factor to this game is the fact that we may not know these wide receivers as well as we think we do. So it may be tough for us to defend them.
And that's my next question, to kind of give a preview of the full spectrum of things, not just the Buffalo Bills, but the Green Bay Packers as well, the opposition, and talking about the opposition. Know the enemy. Know thy enemy. That's the saying, right? That's the phrase. Who are these Green Bay Packers? Because these Green Bay Packers are much different from what you have come to know in your lifetime and from what I've come to know in my lifetime. Our lifetimes collectively, long gone are the days of Brett Favre, long gone are the days of Aaron Rodgers in his prime, as we talked about from the top. Who is this team? Because you look at this team's depth chart, there aren't many guys that you really know well, and there aren't many guys that really jump out at you in general, especially on the offensive side of the football. So to my question with that is, how do you see Green Bay implementing any sort of success against this Buffalo Bills team with who they have? What ways could they possibly get it done tonight?
all the people that have been good, all the players that have been good in the past on their team, Aaron Jones isn't even doing that well. They could have a
Right.
dangerous tight end in Tunyon, but he's not performing to par. So if you're going to ask me, what do the Green Bay Packers have to do to keep up with the Buffalo Bills? They have to draft well next year. They have to free agency the year after. It's going to be quite a while until I think that the Green Bay Packers are competitive as long as Aaron Rodgers is at the helm, because he does have a lot of that cap space under his belt. And again, like I mentioned earlier, until they can bring in some players, maybe through free agency, that are can develop a relationship with a guy that's 40 years old, and it's hard to do that when you're 20 and he's 40. So I think the camaraderie, the companion, to be a group of a single group, it's hard to do with a mentality and a generational gap such as we're seeing in Green Bay. I don't see them. They're not the old Green Bay Packers. They don't run the ball like they used to. They're not the gunslinging kind of quarterback guys. It's sad to see, but Green Bay Packers see it, and I think all the NFL fans around here do.
Yeah, we got a familiar face lining up in the yellow and green and white. That is Sammy Watkins. And that's really the only name at the wide receiver position that I really know of. As you mentioned, Alan Lazard is out. Robert Tunyon, he hasn't really been as up to par as what he normally is. And to be honest with you, I expected more out of this Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon running back duo this season, and we just have not seen a consistent rushing offense from the Green Bay Packers. But back to the Buffalo Bills. We're here. It's Sunday Night Football. To me, Sunday Night Football, in terms of prime time, I've always loved it more than Monday night. What are your expectations for just the vibe that we'll see in Orchard Park, New York, at Highmark Stadium? Now, I almost called it New Era Field. Almost called it the Ralph. Hey, we'll call it the Ralph just for nostalgia's sake. What do you expect to see from the Bills Mafia tonight? Any tables being broken by chance?
Well, unfortunately for the Mafia and the fans, we start early. We start early. That's why we love our 1 o'clock game so much, is because it's not we start drinking at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. We started drinking at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning today. So it'll be crazy. It'll be loud. You'll have some people sleeping in the stands, some people passed out in the tailgates. But we get loud. We do get loud, and especially on a 6-1 run right now, and we're playing Sunday Night Football against who used to be a pretty dominant football team. It's going to be exciting. This Mafia is going to bring a hell of a crowd.
You mentioned that Green Bay's secondary, in particular their defense, but in particular their secondary has actually been pretty good this year. They've been hit or miss, but for the most part, I would say that's probably the silver lining in their season, is that Green Bay's secondary has been fairly decent as opposed to the rest of their team. What have you noticed in terms of the coverage, in terms of the style of play that they implement via their secondary, and how do you think they'll line up against the Bills with Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis and Dawson Knox, who has had a little bit of a slow start to the year, and I'm expecting a breakout from him pretty soon here?
You cut out a breakout from who?
Dawson Knox. I think I basically, Diggs, Knox, Gabe Davis. How do you expect Buffalo to get the ball to those guys effectively, and how do you think Green Bay will attack us in terms of their defense?
I think it's one of those things that you just be patient. I agree. I think Knox is eventually going to have a fair share of his targets increase over the next couple weeks. We do play Jair Alexander, who's arguably top 5 cornerback in the league. So he'll be manning up Diggs. Once these corners and these safeties, Ryan, can start proving that they can cover Diggs or Davis, I could see the game plan being already in the game plan. If those guys are covered, Josh Allen is making his reads, Diggs will be open, bada bing, bada boom. I think it'll eventually come. They're a very patient football team. So I believe very much that it'll come. It'll come. Hopefully we see a glimpse of it, but if it's something that we're going to keep a secret to the playoff time, might as well wait till then. But it will happen. There's a reason why the Buffalo Bills signed him to an extension in his contract, so it'll happen. But they got to stop Davis and Diggs first, man.
Right, and that's a tall task in and of itself, as we know what these guys can do. This is one of the best full arsenals of an offense that the NFL has to offer. And the Buffalo Bills right at the top, points per game, yards per game, right at the top statistically among the whole league, not just the AFC. But that goes to my next question. This is an AFC NFC matchup for the most part through the last, X amount of weeks that the season has commenced here. We have a great idea of who the Bills are, but we also have a great idea of what the field looks like, what the opposition looks like in terms of who is the biggest threat right now, in your opinion, in the AFC to the Buffalo Bills, if there is one, in your humble opinion.
I think it's a team we already beat. It's a team that is coached by Andy Reid, who knows how to make those adjustments. They always say, everybody NFL, the analysis, we always say this: you have to play a team twice. It's harder to beat them the second time than it is the first time. First time, in fact, that team that lost the first time actually has an advantage because you know what to fix. The team that won, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, or do you adjust to try to confuse the other team? Kansas City is that team. They will be that team. They've made the Super Bowl. They've made the AFC championships. They're that team that we got to beat. I've said it all along. We beat them in the regular season 2 years in a row, but until we beat them in the postseason, they still have our number.
Right.
And with Andy Reid being able to adjust the way he does, that's going to be a tough matchup. But honestly, Ryan, I don't see us playing them in the playoffs. I see us stealing that first week bye, and the Chiefs having to go 2 weeks playing tough teams to try to get to us. So, I mean, you'd like to play the best teams, but if the better team beats the Kansas City Chiefs, that's the team you're playing.
Yeah, and outside of the Chiefs, prior to the season starting, that was the thought, that would be the team, and we just beat them. So now I think the Chiefs look a lot different without Tyreek Hill. I feared that for them prior to the season starting, and they've tried to replace that dynamic weapon that he was to their offense time and time again, and it just hasn't worked. And now they're trying to do it with a guy outside of the organization, and Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney is no Tyreek Hill. I'm just saying, no disrespect, but Kadarius Toney is no Tyreek Hill. So good luck in that pursuit. But to be honest with you, I do agree with you that it's KC. But I think mentally this Bills team is just on another level, and that goes to the second half of the game between the Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. That was Josh Allen's essentially first true full-on second half comeback win. And ever since that second half against Baltimore, Scott, it appears as if this Buffalo Bills team just has a completely different belief mindset within the whole organization. They've looked like a completely different team. I want your take on that. In terms of what we've seen since that Baltimore game, do you get a sense that there is just a higher self-belief within this team than what there was at any point last year?
It's one of those things. The more you play with the same team, the quicker you're able to rebound. We saw 2 years ago the Buffalo Bills lose a tough before bye week game against, I think, was it the Cardinals at that point? I can't remember. And then they came out after that bye week and they kicked butt all the way up into the playoffs. We saw the same thing last year. They lost the bye week game the week before the bye week. Take that bye week, come back, and kick ass the rest of the regular season. I think, like I said, with this team being together for so long, the locker room being the way it is, I think it just happened a little earlier than the bye week this year. Clearly, we're getting over our bye week now, but I think one of those aha moments was at halftime against the Ravens, and I think we're riding strong after that half, and I think we're going to see the rest of that for these next 11 weeks into that first week bye.
Yeah, I completely agree that we have not even seen the best of this team yet. I think that's kind of to what you're saying in terms of looking ahead at the schedule. We don't want to look past Green Bay because Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys still. We know that he's not what he was, but football's weird. We know that. Football can be tricky where one night one guy can show up and look like he used to just for one night, and that might be the last night he ever looks good again. Maybe tonight's that night for Aaron Rodgers. I highly doubt it. But, Scott, we're at that point now where we're 8 minutes away from 8 o'clock. We're getting closer and closer and closer to game time. I want your keys to victory for this game. Give me 3 things that you believe the Buffalo Bills need to do in order to come away with a W in this game against Green Bay. Sunday Night Football in Orchard Park, New York.
I think you keep the foot on the gas, and what that means, I don't know. Keep the ball in the air. Keep it giving it to Diggs and Davis. They know how to read those coverages, those man coverages, those zero coverages, the zone coverages. Josh Allen's ripping everybody apart. So keep doing what you're doing, keep the foot on the gas. I think defensively, you keep pressure on Aaron Rodgers. That's just the way we've talked about it on the Kagan Report constantly, even on Sunday sessions. Doesn't matter how many years experience you have, you get that quarterback frustrated, know that he's getting hit every play. He's going to make mistakes. And going into that, I think we need to see Love come in the second half to relieve Rodgers, and for the Green Bay Packers finally understand that maybe they need to move on. And third thing, obviously, special teams. We know that turnovers on special teams, punt returning, kick returning, can turn the game around. So Martin's going to get, I don't know if he's going to be out there that often, but we need to flip the field when we have to and just play your game. Special teams is huge. I'm not sure who's their kick returner now. Is Stevenson back? Last I knew. Khalil Shakir.
Last I knew he was. Yeah, last I knew Stevenson's getting closer and closer, but I don't think he's going to be back tonight. So I would assume Shakir is the guy. Yep.
So obviously I hit all phases of the game, but you need to play all three phases to be successful. So that's the way it is.
Yeah, and in today's NFL, in yesterday's NFL, doesn't matter. All three phases are needed in order to win a football game. And I think this game is going to see a new level from the Buffalo Bills, because this is a team coming off of a bye. This is a team coming off of their biggest win of the season, as well as a bye. Biggest win that they could muster up compared to any other win this season. How they beat the Chiefs, I think, was just as impressive as blowing out the Chiefs. Call me crazy, but being that they were able to get past them and win a close, tight-knit game, I weigh that more than just blowing out the Chiefs. It wouldn't have been given the same validity, the same praise as what it needed to be, as what it was actually in reality with a close victory. But where I see them being different in this one, I think Ken Dorsey is going to dial something up a little bit differently. To my question earlier about what would I like to see different, that's where Buffalo and their coaching staff can take this last week that they just had off and say, what can we do differently with this defense? What can we do differently with this offense in comparison to what we've shown other teams on film or on the field? And there's a guy that the Buffalo Bills drafted in the second round that I want to see him explode. I want to see him have his coming out party, and that's James Cook. I'm hoping that the Bills get him involved via the passing game, via the running game. To me, their key to victory is keeping Aaron Rodgers off the field. Even if Aaron Rodgers isn't what he once was, I do believe that he's their best chance at winning. A great night from Aaron Rodgers can lead a mediocre team to victory. He's done it quite often throughout his career. So I think that we need to see more of a run game. We need to see more of not even necessarily a run game, because I know that this team is a passing offense. But Scott, would you hope to see Singletary, James Cook get these touches outside of just running it in between the tackles tonight as a key to victory?
Well, Ryan, I have a bunch of parlays in FanDuel right now that would suggest Singletary could possibly win us a bunch of money. So I would like to see the run game pick up due to the fact that is up for grabs. Big money, big money. But with all that being said, it's going to be 50 degrees out. It's clear weather. The Mafia is going to be loud. I think McDermott is going to want to jump on these guys quick. So it all depends on how quick we're able to jump on them. And if we can establish like a 2-3 touchdown lead, I think we'll see a lot more of the running game for sure.
The Endless Mountain Derelicts, one of the most awesome bands in Western New York, says, solid football, all three phases, play our game. Ghetto Big Bird says, I would agree. I would like to see the Bills beat the Chiefs in the postseason. Wouldn't we all? I think somewhere deep down, and even at the heart of a Chiefs fan, they might like to see the tables turn, the tide change. It's our time. It's our era. It's our quarterback, the best quarterback in the NFL, Josh Allen. Sherry Scott says that Aaron Rodgers was tailgating very early today and that she got pictures. And it was, in fact, Aaron Rodgers. I heard this on Twitter, and I thought it was a joke. I'm scrolling through, and everyone's got these pictures of a guy that looks just like Aaron Rodgers or Keanu Reeves or Nicolas Cage from back in the day. We'll figure that out. But, I thought that was pretty interesting. All right, so I have a segment on my show that is called Bold Takes, where I say something very bold, and sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But, Scott, what is your bold take of this game between the Buffalo Bills and the Green Bay Packers?
Jordan Love will start the second half.
Oh, that's a great one. Maybe Case Keenum will start the second half for the Buffalo Bills. That's a possibility, right?
It's always I mean, that's a fact. If Jordan Love is starting the second half, that means the Bills have a lead. And Aaron Rodgers needs to be reminded, even though he's 40-something years old, you don't need to do that to a veteran. But I think it's time. There's got to be a time during a coach's career, GM's career, where you say, okay, out with the old, in with the new. Unfortunately, I'm a fan of how Aaron Rodgers has always played, but it's coming to an end.
You know what? I really want to make this point, too, because I haven't talked about it yet, and it's the perfect time to with what you just said. You know, if they do go from Rodgers to Love, maybe it's not tonight, maybe it's next week. You know, I have to say, for as great as Aaron Rodgers has been in his career, there's nothing more annoying than a guy that is great, a guy that is talented, that has zero leadership skills whatsoever, and has proven it time and time and time again. I think that's a large reason as to why Davante Adams signed a contract that just had a big fat number on it. He didn't care where he went, whether he was playing with Derek Carr or whether he was playing with Andy Dalton with the Saints. I'm just using that as an example to make my point. Davante Adams wanted to get paid, and I think Aaron Rodgers has a leadership complex. He's in a position of leadership, but he's not a leader. He's never been a leader. He's been a great quarterback. He's got great skills, but his ability as a leader is, I hate to say it, this is the only word that I can think of, but it's kind of pathetic when they lose a game and he says, well, these guys need to do better. These guys need to, I mean, these guys that are in their early 20s, that are young rookie wide receivers, they grew up playing this game, idolizing, hoping that they would catch a pass from Aaron Rodgers in the NFL, and now here is Aaron Rodgers kicking them while they're down. It's a horrible look, and I think that's another reason, of one of many reasons, as to why the Packers have just looked like complete garbage these last 3 weeks. So my bold take is the Bills are going to blow out the Green Bay Packers, which leads me to my next talking point. Score predictions. Score predictions from Scott. You got the floor. Give me a score prediction, and let the people know where they can find you.
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter at Scott247Buff and Scott247BF. You can find me on Facebook at 247Buff Fandemonium. That's our group page. Join us up, guys. We do a live stream every Tuesday, 8 p.m. called the K-Gun Report. This week, actually, Ryan, we have a giveaway.
Ooh.
Yep. And we're giving
Tell
away
the people.
This.
That is sick.
Crucial Catch. Josh
Crucial
Allen
Catch jersey. I love it.
Yep, and that's a giveaway. All you got to do is join the show, leave a comment during the show, and you're entered to win on the Fandemonium Wheel of Destiny. And then the next week or the week after, we also have a Josh Allen Salute to Service jersey. It's a nice camo jersey, the stuff that we're going to give away. And like I said, all you got to do is comment during that live stream. But that's where you could find me. Score prediction? 42-17. I think the Bills are going to blow them out. Keep the foot on the gas. You know, I've been preaching that the whole game, the whole show, and I don't see them changing the way they've done their things the last 7 weeks into the bye week. So keep the foot on the gas. Defense still playing hot. We're still without Trey White, but these guys are number one without him all season. So keep it going, Buffalo. Keep it going. 42-17 blowout.
I'm predicting that this is one of the worst statistical games of Aaron Rodgers' career. I think this Buffalo Bills defense is on another level this year. And you add in, I love that jersey. You add in the fact that the Bills are playing in front of their home fans. Man, that jersey is sweet. It's distracting.
Distracting you much?
Yeah. But no, I definitely feel like this is going to be a terrible game for Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to look old. He's going to look slow. And I think the Bills are going to win this one. I'm going like 45-10. If maybe 10 points is all Green Bay gets. Maybe. And I think giving them 10 is generous. I really do. So I'm going 45-10. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to get picked off 3 times, sacked probably 5 or 6, and Josh Allen will be benched, and we will see Case Keenum at some point in this game. That's what I'm predicting.
It's one of those games, Ryan, where you hate to see your rookie quarterback have to come in on a primetime game against this Buffalo Bills defense. And you're kind of feeling the same way about any of these veteran quarterbacks like a Tom Brady, an Aaron Rodgers, a Russell Wilson. They have to come in and play against this Buffalo Bills defense only because they're slowing down and they're not in coercion with their current teammates. So it's going to be a rough one. It's going to be a rough one. I can't wait to watch it.
For as many reasons as Devontae Adams is happy he signed his contract with the Raiders, even though the Raiders aren't doing anything, Aaron Rodgers should be kicking himself for signing this extension with Green Bay. It made no sense then. It makes no sense now, especially. So there you have it, folks. And to fill the folks in, every single Sunday sessions, 24/7 Buffalo Fandemonium is the Facebook group. The Sunday Sessions show is hosted by Scott Reed and a guy by the name of Swank, as we like to call him. They host me on the show every Sunday morning or Monday afternoon, morning, depending on what day the Bills are playing. Every week I'm on that show, and it is one of the highlights of my week. I look forward to it every single week. But on the show, this is my second season now, and this is a first having Scott on my show and getting the chance to chat with Scott and ask him some questions, which was really awesome. So to Scott, thank you, buddy, for hopping on. I really appreciate it. And thank you for having me every week on your show.
Oh, we love you, Ryan. You know we do. Sunday Sessions, and definitely thank you for having me on your show. It's awesome.
Go Bills, right?
Go Bills!
Folks, that is all you need to know. Go Bills. It is time. The time is now. Our time is now. Green Bay's time, they had their time. This is our time. Let's go Bills. Let's go Buffalo. Josh Allen, we love you.
Go Bills.